Nassau's gone funky, Nassau's gone soul. We got a double beat now, we're gonna call our very own. Nassau rock and Nassau roll, Nassau's got...
Early morning in Nassau. The tranquility of Nassau Harbor soon will be converted to the dynamic energy of the racing motors as the steamer comes into the harbor carrying 123 race cars. The drivers and mechanics come by water and by air to participate in this 10-day event.
The Bahamas Speed Weeks took place from 1954 until 1966 and attracted many of the great cars and drivers of the period. Nassau is a beautiful place on a beautiful island. It really needs to be brought back into the forefront of people's minds. Historic motorsport can do that. People now travel to New Zealand and Australia for the Tasman Series and South Africa for the Springbok Series. But there's one missing from all of this, the Bahamas Speed Week at Nassau. And I think time's now right to see if we can attract competitors and visitors and sponsors and partners to come to the Bahamas and revive this great event. During the last 12 months, various people from the islands and in the UK have been starting to put together a proposal to revive the Bahamas Speed Week. The timing's probably right. People who've been involved so far are all very positive about the concept, and I think we can probably bring back some of the iconic cars which raced in the 50s and 60s on the islands.
Nassau's gone funky, Nassau's gone.
Slipping and sliding, and it could mean also that the more powerful cars, like Forts Hussein, the Blarenzols, and the Chaparrals, well, their conditions...
In December of 2010, we finally arranged to visit the Bahamas and meet with the various ministers, who were probably even more enthusiastic than we could have imagined. So we can now say it's not just imagination. The Bahamas Speed Week revival is going to take place in December 2011 on start. The drivers will sit in the cars and their co-drivers will dash across the road, tap them on the helmet, and they will rush off to take the first lap of the Arawak Keys circuit, especially created for this event. Amongst them will be Sir Stirling Moss, who has kindly agreed not only to be patron of the event, but to bring his wonderful little Italian Oscar sports car and be one of the competitors. Hopefully his passenger will be Sir Arthur Fuchs, the present Governor-General of the island. The competing cars will return from their opening lap to enter the paddock and mingle with the Auto Club cars which will already have been on display. Meanwhile, there'll be a fry-up prepared for all the competitors, the marshals, the officials and everyone involved in the event, ready to kick off what we hope will be a wonderful week of entertainment for the island. Following this cookout, the competing cars will be driven back through the streets of Nassau, meet at their hotel and prepare themselves for the welcome reception in the evening. Thursday is Island Tour Day. The competing cars will set off and take in a 40 to 50 mile tour of all the beauty spots of the island. In particular, we have been invited to visit Lyford Key, home of James Bond, or Sean Connery at the very least. We'll gather at Lyford for a concours d'elegance, a wonderful lunch alongside the sea, and be able to relax while the cars are judged by some local stars. Thursday evening sees us return to the hotel for a buffet dinner. Following the dinner, we'll be showing some rare films from Speed Weeks of the past. Our Nassau racing legends, some of the past drivers, will be there in attendance and will tell some of the tales of the parties, the racing and anything else they feel they can reveal to us. Friday will give an opportunity for the drivers, the car owners, the guests, the sponsors to get involved in some of the wonderful things you can do on the islands. There's potential for powerboat rides, diving, golfing and all other forms of relaxation. During the afternoon, the competing cars will form up in Bay Street. Bay Street is the main street in Nassau. It contains most of the high-end stores that you would expect to see in any great city all around the world. We shall be closing Bay Street for only the second time. We expect large crowds to gather to look at the cars and hopefully involve themselves in some retail therapy. Saturday will see the competing cars return to the historic site of Oaks Field, where the event started many, many years ago. There'll be a timed sprint with the cars running one at a time against the clock. Following the time trials, the cars will reassemble on the lawn for a glamorous concours d'elegance. Following the concours, the guests will ready themselves for the high spot of the week, the gala dinner, which will include the auction of promises for various Bahamian charities. These will be the Ramfully Children's Home, the Bahamas Cancer Society and the AIDS Foundation. Sunday's race day. We return to Arawak Key, where we've created a 1.1 mile circuit. The circuit includes some nice straights, some exciting corners and some tricky chicanes. Each car will have 2 timed runs against the clock. At the end of the day, all of the competing drivers, the guests, the teams, sponsors and all those who've been involved in the week will assemble together for a drinks reception and a grand prize giving.
Nassau's gone funky, Nassau's gone soul. We got a double beat now, we're gonna call our very own. Nassau rock and Nassau roll, Nassau's got a whole lot of soul. Feel alright. Mini skirts, maxi skirts, and afro hairdos. People doing their own thing. They don't care about me or you. Nassau's got.
Okay, John, but here's a development. Look at this. Number 1, A.J. Foyt is coming into the pits again.
And we've got a doggone beat now. We're gonna take care of business too.
As the Florida steams out of Nassau Harbor over the emerald, crystal clear waters of the Bahamas, we bid farewell to this exciting adventure in a tropical paradise, resolved to return again next year for another Bahamas Carnival of Speed.
Look out! I'll see!